always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that, spitting slow, spitting fast. I could roast, I could gas, think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past and the pettiness. A reflection of the emptiness, hilarious. You think you're worth my time, you're delirious, mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains that last, and to believe in what you got, it was built to last, yeah. Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Off-Label Podcast, your twice weekly dose of sanity in an insane world with bonus episodes. Look, it's been a big thing. They even had a hearing about it today. Apparently, people within the Department of Justice had started leaking some kind of or people in certain places of power had started leaking some supposed war plans that were drafted up for Yemen and somehow got leaked to a very leftist journalist, I guess you could say. This story, this either sounds like a trap or this motherfucker was already in that group previously and it just transferred over from the next administration. There's not a lot of information coming out about this. They tried to actually mess the whole thing up with the hearing, but we'll get into all that as well. It also kind of rolls into the next one of Jasmine Crockett might have been collared. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll see how far this goes because she was uncharacteristically not herself today, and it was kind of weird to see. We'll get into that as well. But then again, ladies and gentlemen, there is also a turn that actually seems to be happening because these Democrat politicians who have gone back to their districts are now having their own constituents that they say love them so much yelling in their faces. It's a weird situation. We got to get into all of that, but ain't nothing gonna start till I hit this button right here.
Hey kid, don't ever let them get inside your head. They'll tell you what to do in life instead of everything you know that you can get. Don't let them guide your life towards regret. I'll fight for what I love with every breath. My past is filled with things I won't forget. I use them all to push me to my best. So treat the worst of times just like a test. If only I could go back in time, I'd tell myself that everything will end up alright. Just push yourself, test yourself, figure out what you like, and find your limits, don't be rigid, always work towards a prime. Surround yourself with open minds, people can change your life. A few friends with intent can help you feel alive. Find a passion, take some action, and with a little time, just be patient, make a statement, try to enjoy your life. They'll try to kick you while you're down. They wanna rise up while you drown. They wanna fill your head with doubt. They're silently scared that you'll figure it out. I'll make it look like I'm losing. Won't bother hiding my bruises. And when they finally think you're wounded, then it's your chance to be ruthless. I'll make it look like I'm losing. Won't bother hiding my bruises. And when they finally think you're wounded, then it's your chance to be ruthless.
They really gonna hate hearing these facts.
The Republican Party is a party of hate. Always was and always will be. At least if you're a Democrat, that's what you believe. But here's a little fun fact, a little history lesson. Who was the president that caused the Trail of Tears? Andrew Jackson, a Democrat. What about the president who threw Japanese in internment camps? Franklin D. Roosevelt, a Democrat. Who was the president that outlawed the KKK? Ulysses S. Grant, a Republican. You know, the Klan who was started after Reconstruction, formed by Southern Democrats. Ooh, this is a good one. Who was the party that championed for women's rights? Republicans. Did you know Susan B. Anthony was a Republican? I didn't know that. Well, now you know. You know, in 1964, the Democrats opposed the Civil Rights Act? How dare they? Yet it was still able to be passed thanks to House Republicans. Shit, I could do this all night. And of course, the misinformed will deny it and come to my page and leave hateful comments and insults. But I lead with facts. Liberals lead with emotion.
He is not wrong about any of that. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We got Carolyn with us, Muffins in the house with us, Jennifer, Marlene. Right now, that's what's showing on that. Ladies and gentlemen, I just got to go ahead and tell you for YouTube side, because I messed up tonight and I fat fingered my stream deck here. We accidentally went live way too soon on Rumble. So from now on, you're going to see the last 15 minutes of the, of behind the scenes before we go live on Rumble now, because that started up YouTube a lot easier, a lot cleaner. So we're going to start the back end talk of everything. 15 minutes before the show begins, we're going to boot up Rumble, and we're just going to talk about what's going on for the last 15 minutes and the conversation. However, then we'll get into the show as far as that goes. So Rumble has more behind the scenes now at that point, just because I screwed up. But let's go over there to show you what I was talking about with the Rumble chat. It was lit up because people were paying attention to that. Go ahead and call it out, Davey.
No, it was funny. And then I've said it like 9 times already, and Rumble heard it all 9 times. But all of a sudden, you just got.
We were talking about Harry's system behind the scenes and how I think he was a little bit by that MEO guy.
And I don't want to. I'm trying not to curse so we can get monetized on YouTube because we're almost there.
That's not gonna happen.
No, but we can try. Okay, I can try. Jennifer said, "F Harry sis and that twink," and I was like, "Wait a minute, can they hear us?"
I went to go back to a scene. I was messing with my stream deck and just playing around with the programming and just making sure everything was programmed correct into the OBS and everything. And apparently I just fat fingered the go live button. But here's the thing, within OBS, my stream deck can make it go live, but I have to go into OBS and turn it on manually for YouTube side. And then go into YouTube Studio and hit go live. So it's a whole bunch of weird, messed up situation. I got to get beyond that. I got you. But it was weird because he's just like, wait a minute, what? Are we live? And I was like, no, there's no way. And then I looked up and it was lit up. I was like, oh, shit. How long have we been live? Because we said some fucked up things.
Yeah, Jennifer, I was so confused. Like, she says, can Jennifer read our minds? And I was like, I was like, did she read her? Like, did you say something in the chat beforehand that she would just, say something about Harry? And I was just like, this is weird. And then, yeah, it was funny though. But, it leads us to our new thing now. So if you join us on Rumble,
that pulled the entire fucking YouTube crowd. They're just like, fuck it, why not? We're just going to stay here. So the Rumble chat will take precedence over today. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Actually, I like that idea. We're going to start doing it.
Yeah.
But, Davey.
Yo.
Since you've been out of this situation, have you heard about this supposed war plans leak?
I've heard about it a little bit But my favorite is I saw one of the images and
What
I
up, the
didn't
Sentinel?
I
Sorry,
didn't
man.
like save it or anything like that. One of the memes that somebody put was JD Vance putting NIG, and then the guy who was the whatchamacallit, the journalist was like, really guys, is this this is what we're doing? And then Pete Hegseth was like, stop being such a fag. And listen, I love this administration so much because it's just so much fun. Trump is just signing executive order after executive order, and he's being given it to him like he's on on a silver platter. And I don't know who this guy is that keeps telling him the executive orders, but I want one. I want a guy to just bring me things and just tell me what it is, and he's like, oh, that's a good one.
You want
And
to
then he
be
just-
that guy, or do you
No,
want that guy?
I want one of those guys and just be like, here, this is what you're doing right now. And I'm like, okay, cool. And I'll just sign off on it. But yeah, it's a funny guy. I've never known that guy to exist.
Davey,
Yeah.
you do realize you cannot own people anymore, right? So you can't own one of these guys. You want one?
That's a good point. That was taken way out of context, Richard.
Like, you
Listen,
just
my
feel-
people were there for so long. Can I have my own?
Only if it's a white man. Can't be a woman because that's sexist. It has to be a white man. Anyway.
But that's what Trump has. Trump has this little white dude that just brings him executive orders, and he goes, this is what it is, sir. You're going to close the borders and send every Mexican who was born before 1974 back home. And he's like,
God damn, what?
that's a good idea. Sounds good to me.
Born before 1974. Why would
this, sir, is to make every Tuesday officially Taco Tuesday. So
Dude.
you know, the ones that are still here have to make everybody tacos. And he's like, that's a good one too.
I know how we're scrolling out hard. I know how funny it would be to sit there and have that dude literally hand him executive orders and just say shit like that, but the executive order is something real, you know? And he's just like, oh, okay. It's like they got like code words. He's just like, hey, every single Tuesday, people must eat tacos. Sign this. And he's like, cool, that's it. And in his head, he's just like, okay, so fuck these people at the border. They're involved in human trafficking. There you go. You know, it'd be great.
Then the reporter says something to him, and he goes, "What's the matter? You don't like tacos? Everybody likes tacos."
What was Biden's favorite ice cream? Remember that? Yeah.
Oh God. Oh, he only had one scoop. Trump had 2 scoops.
But anyway, getting back to the story, ladies and gentlemen, I want to run Davey through this because this is going to be great. This connection here, and how this became a thing and why this ran with it. I understand exactly how this happened. I'm on the fence about whether it was an accident because the dude was on the list that they used beforehand, or this is a setup completely just to see if he is actually like somebody who leaks plans because he might be on the inside of some shit.
Well, that's what that isn't that like I think that's what Tim Pool said. Like Trump's thing is like he'll tell 3 different people 3 different things. Like he'll tell 3 people the same thing, but in a different way.
3 different ways. Yes, a detail will be different.
Yeah, a detail. So like, I'm gonna have a bag of Doritos in one thing, and then another thing will be I'm having Doritos, and the other thing will be bring me Doritos. They're delicious. So they'll all talk about Doritos.
Or you do
but
Doritos, Fritos, taquitos.
Yeah. whatever it is, like I only said that because I saw Doritos next to me. But like it's one of those things where he says it in a little bit of a different way, and he finds out who says what by the way it's reported out.
Right.
So if somebody says Trump says he wants Doritos because they're delicious, he knew it was person number 3. So that's one of the things where I think it might be something like that, where they're trying to find out if this journalist is a traitor.
Yeah, okay. So you have a more than tenuous grasp on the situation at hand, then.
Yeah.
Nice.
I heard what happened.
All right.
We know I'm not as dumb as everybody thinks I am, Richard.
I know that, but with everything that's been going on, I didn't know if you were fully abreast of the situation or not.
Listen, I'm still always paying attention. Always paying attention.
But check this, because this is awesome right here. This comes from the Associated Press. The title right now, Trump officials texted attack plans to a group chat in a secure app that included a journalist. Now, this is awesome. Just track with me. I'm going to read this for a little bit, and then I'm going to show y'all how they made this connection. And it's hilarious. Top national security officials for President Donald Trump, including his defense secretary, texted plans for upcoming military strikes in Yemen to a group chat in a secure message app that included the editor-in-chief of The Atlantic. The magazine reported in a story posted online Monday, which that story is right here, where he pretty much, this is a long ass article, but he pretty much goes through everything that was discussed in it with screenshots and everything.
Sorry, Renegade. Eat those Doritos. Enjoy.
The National Security Council said the text chain appears to be authentic. Trump initially told reporters he was not aware that the highly sensitive information had been shared. Trump initially told reporters he was not aware that the highly sensitive information had been shared. 2.5 hours after it was reported, he later appeared to joke about the breach. The material in the text chain contained operational details, forthcoming strikes on Iran-backed Houthi rebels in Yemen, including information about targets, weapons the U.S. would be employing, and attack sequencing, Editor-in-Chief Goldberg reported. It was not immediately clear if specifics of the military operation were classified, but they often are, and at the least are. I'm reading ahead. My bad.
Yeah.
It was not immediately clear if the specifics of the military operation were classified, but they often are, and at the least are kept secure to protect service members and operational security. The U.S. has conducted airstrikes against the Houthi rebels since the militant group began targeting commercial and military vessels in the Red Sea in November 2023. It's almost here. Just 2 hours after Goldberg received the details of the attack on March 15th, the U.S. began launching a series of airstrikes against Houthi targets in Yemen. What was actually discussed in this is not what actually happened against the Houthi targets in Yemen. But the National Security Council said in a statement that it was looking to how a journalist number was added to the chain in the signal group. In addition to Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, it included Vice President J.D. Vance, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, and Tulsi Gabbard, Trump's Director of National Intelligence. Okay. Hegseth, Vance, Rubio, and Gabbard. I'm already smelling a setup coming.
Well, yeah, be the one is correct. He said Musk sent out emails to different people in X with different typos to find out who was leaking.
It's the same thing here.
Yeah.
It's the same thing here.
Mm-hmm.
Goldberg.
By the way, isn't the Atlantic the same magazine that put out the article about the
COVID amnesty?
Well, the COVID amnesty, but or was that Time magazine where they were talking about the deep state behind to get
Oh,
Trump.
That was Time Magazine. Yeah.
Okay.
The shadow campaign that saved the
Yeah.
2020 presidency or something.
Yeah.
2020.
Okay.
election.
Yeah. I didn't know if that was the Atlantic or
That was
Time
The
Magazine.
Atlantic was the one where that bitch was just like, hey, let's have a COVID amnesty. We didn't know what we know now.
Yeah.
And just because you were right and we were screaming at you and calling you all types of names and calling for your death simply because you didn't want to wear a mask and take a jab, let's let bygones be bygones. Yeah, that was the Atlantic. But Goldberg said he receives a signal invitation from Mike Waltz, Trump's national security advisor, who was also in the group chat. Okay, so you're talking about heads of state in every bit of the highest regards of the fucking the national intelligence. Department of National Intelligence, the most head of the head in every set of that. They bring you in on a communication about Houthis as a journalist.
And you don't think she's smarter than you? You don't think Tulsi Gabbard is smarter than you?
My first thing, I'd have accepted that group invitation, and my first question would be like, why the fuck am I here?
Yeah.
Before anything is ever said, why the fuck am I here? This doesn't sound like a place I need to be in. Is this a mistake? That'd have been my first fucking thing.
Why did I get this invitation?
But if Mike Waltz sent it to you himself, it seems like it's an O'Keefe situation. Like they just get these pretty people to go out and have a date with these motherfuckers, and they just set them up to say whatever the fuck, knowing full fucking well it probably is a setup. But hey, you just want to fuck something hot. It kind of seems like that situation is just playing out again. I want to say this is more O'Keefe.
But this is how dumb liberal journalists are. This is how dumb they are. They buy into it every single time. This is how dumb the people who work in Washington government are. Like they're bred to not give a fuck. You know what I mean? Like they're just bred to like say whatever they want to anybody, and they think that living in Washington D.C. and working for the government, that nobody's going to say anything because they think they're all on the same side.
Right.
And this is how stupid they are. This is why James O'Keefe can just have a hot girl go out with a dude who is part of national security, and the guy will tell her everything. Because he's just like, no, this girl's in Washington, D.C. Like, you don't know. Listen, I can do this. I can do that. And this is how stupid they are. This is why once again, you said it the other day. DC, by the way, I heard this too. DC nobody should be living in DC. It should just be working buildings, right?
Within the 10 square miles, there should be no civilian living in DC. The anybody that can claim any kind of residency in DC are federal fucking appointed people. Appointed or elected.
I heard that they're literally.
Why is your camera so fucking small now on the screen?
I don't know.
Zoom it in a little bit. But yeah, go ahead. What are you saying?
They're literally. I saw something on Twitter that they're literally considering thinking about changing it to the District of America.
That would give ownership, though.
Listen.
The whole point of DC was to be separate from everything else, so that no state could claim any kind of claim over it at all.
Why is it the District of Columbia though? Like, what is? Like what? Like if it's the District of Columbus because it's, or the District of I don't understand why the District of Columbia. It's a weird thing for me, and I never thought about it until now.
It was supposed to be separate, which is why DC does not have a vote on a federal level. They have a voice, which they shouldn't even have that because there should be no citizen living there, just like Guam does, just like everything else. It is a district. It is a territory that was made And Colombia kind of helped us out, but that's not the reason why at that point in time. I don't exactly know why it was the District of Columbia, why it was named that, but I do know it was supposed to signify that there was no claim whatsoever over this 10 square mile of land separated for the federal government itself.
Marlene said Colombia is America's goddess.
I don't, are
Shane
you
said
telling me we have a goddess, but we don't have an official language until now?
we do now. Shane says complete the race tracks and strip joints, make it a red light district of the U.S.
But we're coming up on this, Davey. You're going to love this fucking connection that the AP puts on here. This is fucking amazing, brother. Check this out. Hegseth, in his first comments on the matter, attacked Goldberg as deceitful and discredited so-called journalist while alluding to previous critical reporting of Trump from the publication. He did not shed light on why Signal was being used to discuss the sensitive operation on how Goldberg ended up on the messaging chain. By the way, the message chain never had anything that was considered classified, and the war plans that were discussed on it did not actually fucking happen. Yeah. Nobody was texting war plans, and that's all I have to say about that. Hegseth said in an exchange with reporters after landing in Hawaii on Monday, and has began his first trip into the Indo-Pacific as defense secretary. Trump on Tuesday, in a brief interview with NBC News, Garrett Hake, whatever the fuck, downplayed the incident as the only glitch in 2 months of his administration, and it turned out not to be a serious one. Why? Because it's bullshit?
Yeah, because it was a lie. It was a complete lie.
Hold on. White House Press Secretary Kevlon Levitt on Tuesday said in a post on X that no war plans were discussed and that no classified material was sent to the thread. Levitt said on Monday the president still had the utmost confidence in Waltz and the national security team. Trump told NBC News on Tuesday that Waltz had learned a lesson and he's a good man. Earlier Monday, Trump told reporters, "I don't know anything about it. You're telling me about this the first time." He added that the Atlantic was not much of a magazine. But by early evening, the president jokingly brushed it aside. He amplified a social media post from Elon Musk spotlighting a conservative satirical news site article with a cutting headline, 40 chess. Genius Trump leaks war plans to the Atlantic where no one will ever see them. Okay, they do talk about how it is a satirical website, but they quote the Babylon Bee because he was just like, hey, check this out. This is pretty fucking funny. He was making fun of the fact that it was, out of all this information, out of everybody that vetted it, Atlantic was the only one that would print it out. You don't think Time Magazine would have had that if they wanted it? Atlantic had to be far down the fucking list for something that major. You know what I'm saying?
Muffin said to rename it the District of Cocaine.
I mean, you're not fucking wrong, apparently.
Yeah. He said a different thing, but I changed it to make it a little bit better. But yeah. What up, K-Bean?
But yeah.
She said it's named after Christopher Columbus. The revolutionaries considered the Columbia a poetic and symbolic name for the U.S.
Sounds about right. I honestly don't know where the name District of Columbia came from, so.
What up, Spuds?
But yeah, the Trump administration accidentally, that was the war plan thing here. But here's the thing, and we're going to get into this. This will be this. We got to get into the other ones on the Rumble section because this is going to be fun. Ladies and gentlemen, I watched this hearing. There were some moments of very, very, very disrespectful, disgusting tactics and just words that were spewed. But watching this, like, people are just like, why? Nothing. You don't want to watch these things. They're so boring. Nothing's ever said. Nothing's ever done. You all don't understand. With these hearings, you get to see, hey, who's actually working? Like, I do mean that because you go into these hearings and speak. Doesn't mean you're actually working. Are you on topic? Are you asking relevant questions? Are you Are you trying to bring up real information or are you just trying to shit sling? B, how they are actually voting, because Marjorie Taylor Greene made them, call the roll every damn time. So now they just do it just because to just make everybody's else's life a living hell. You now see who's actually voting on what bill. And C, and this is the favorite one of mine, you get to see what they actually are willing to say out in the public. What information do they know of that they are willing to blatantly outright say? Never mind the fact that the speech and debate clause lets them say anything that they want to in their government capacity and nothing can be done about it. They can basically smear the fuck out of you. They can say they can say that you literally killed 17 babies in an ICU and there's nothing you can do about it, ladies and gentlemen, because of the speech and debate clause.
Dude, I am really, really thinking about quitting and running for office, because if Jasmine Crockett can fucking do it, if Jasmine Crockett can do it and just sit there and say whatever she wants all day long, like it's crazy. She just comes in, calls Trump a racist, starts fighting with Marjorie Taylor Greene, starts fighting with Nancy Mace for her 5 minutes, and then leaves. That's all she does.
And then makes TikTok videos with her dancing with her tongue hanging out. We're going to get into a lot more of that, though. You're trying to segue way too fucking quick.
I'm sorry. Like I said, my brain just woo, 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 woo.
This comes from Tulsi Gabbard herself, Tulsi POTUS. No, this isn't from Tulsi Gabbard herself. Okay, this is Tulsi for president. This is an account for Tulsi. The State Senate Intelligence Committee. Tulsi Gabbard addresses threat to national security and global risk for America. Democrat senators signal global warming, climate change, Edward Snowden, useless, blah, blah, fucking blah. And it is true, ladies and gentlemen. This comes from Art Candy, this stupid bitch.
This fucking idiot.
I want y'all to know this is an 8-second fucking clip, okay? This bitch wants to highlight this. Senator Angus King to Tulsi Gabbard in the Senate Intelligence Committee hearing. It's hard for me to believe that targets and timing and weapons would not have been classified. This is all she fucking clipped to get her point across.
It's hard for me to believe that targets and timing and weapons would not have been classified. Well, let me.
Go ahead. Can we what?
No, listen. I'm so sick of accounts talking about how this person obliterated that person. That person obliterated this person. He just made an 8-second clip. He didn't say much.
You know what that was about? They were talking about this issue right here with the leaking and everything. And she's just like, there is nothing classified that was ever discussed in these things. And he's like, I'm having a hard time believing all this information about where weapons are, when they're going to be used and everything. I don't understand how that would not be classified. Because it wasn't true, bitch. That's the fucking point. It was never fucking true. They were setting his asshole up. Either that, or he was in a group that they just pulled something from the last administration. Hey, this list right here. Yeah, let's just go ahead and use this list. And he was pulled the fuck in by Tim Walz's approval. The only other thing that makes sense is they set his ass up.
And he fell for it hook, line, and sinker.
That's the only fucking things that make sense in this. But then again, here's the thing. The best part about this hearing, that crazy bitch literally lined up Senator Angus King for that 8 seconds. This is what he was most concerned about, ladies and gentlemen.
I want to move on. One note that surprised me. I've been on this committee now this is my 13th year. Every single one of these reports that we have had has mentioned global climate change as a significant national security threat, except this one. Has something happened? Has global climate change been solved? Why is that not in this report? And who made the decision that it should not be in the report when it's been in every one of the 11 prior reports?
I can't speak to the decisions made previously, but this annual threat assessment has been focused very directly on the threats that we deem most critical to the United States and our national security. Obviously, we're aware of occurrences within the environment and how they may impact operations, but we're focused on the direct threats to Americans' safety, well-being, and security.
How about how they will impact mass migration?
I'm just going to say this real quick. Jonathan, sorry, but Ratcliffe and Tulsi look like deers in a headlight during the hearing Rob showed. I don't recall, and a day later, bad optics. Here's the thing. They were using the same defense that Mayorkas used. They were using the same defense that Christopher Wray used. I don't recall, and it's all under investigation. I don't think people are understanding exactly what they're doing. They're sitting here taking the slings and arrows right now, finding out who was leaking shit to the public before it went, or to the press before it went live to anybody else that they would have known about, who was leaking all this information from the National Intelligence Committee to these reporters, who would actually go forward with information instead of being like, hey, I don't think I should be involved in this. I don't know what the fuck this is. Let me bow the fuck out. But just because of the disgusting hatred for Orange Man and Tulsi and Pete Hegseth and all these other people, you walked straight into a fucking trap because none of this was real. Either that, or we have a bigger problem. Maybe they did pull from a list of people on Signal that is a government-used platform for communications within governmental departments to talk about things that are in a classified area on a closed network, that they pulled from a list from the Biden administration. And the dude was on that list and nobody knew because Signal does not show you. It only showed that, hey, Tim Walz invited you to this. And then nobody said anything about him being there. It's fucking weird.
Yeah.
And that's the only two things it can be, is why the fuck was he on the list that we pulled from the Biden administration for this? Or we put you in here by accident to see if you were given classified information or you were given sensitive information. Nothing was classified. You were given sensitive information. Would you throw it out to the American people? By the way, Spuds, what's up? How you doing? I just wanted to hit that point. That's exactly what's going on here. Yeah, it is bad optics, knowing the timing and the, you know, everything like that. It does look bad. But I understand the game being played here.
But it's just so funny. Like, you have...
But by the way, yeah, this asshole was just talking about how, why isn't climate change on
that's
your
the,
DNI
that's
threat report?
That's the biggest problem I have. That's the biggest problem I have. Is he's talking about climate change? She's a part of she's the defense minister, whatever you want to call it.
She's the director of national intelligence. She's over all 17 departments.
Yeah. Trying to defend America, trying to making sure we don't have any international threats. And he wants to talk about the weather? Who are you, Al Roker? You just want to talk about the fucking weather?
I will say this, though. I don't think any other prominent person anywhere else, I don't think, would have fit the role for Director of National Intelligence better than Tulsi Gabbard right now.
No.
Because they all know they're doing sneaky shit behind the fucking scenes, which is all legal, because Democrats were doing the same damn shit just to get these people involved in the situation and leak out information. So they're pulling these same sneaky ass tactics behind the scenes and literally using the defense that Mayorkas and Christopher Wray got away with. It was Christopher Wray who was using the I don't recall defense while they were questioning him. Why the fuck did you use FISA over 700,000 times on American citizens? I don't recall. Mayorkas, why the fuck did all this shit happen under your watch with the border? You were supposed to control that. Well, everything's under investigation, so I can't answer.
Oh, that's why I stopped watching these. That's why I stopped watching these, because
This
it
is
was
why
always.
I love these, because I'm
I know.
understanding the game being played, and it's
I know.
fucking amazing because it's the
know.
same shit I do.
Everything is, well, I can't talk about that. Well, we can't talk about that. I can't do this. I can't say this. Well, this is under investigation. That's under investigation. Well, I asked you about this 6 months ago, and you're supposed to give me an answer. Oh, I'll send it to your office. Okay, we've been 2 years here. You still haven't sent me an answer. Oh, I'll look into it. That's why I can't watch these things anymore, dude, because it's so infuriating. Because they never give an answer. It's always vague.
Mm-hmm.
And as a taxpayer, it's infuriating. Like we pay your salary and you can't tell me. Like, and I understand, like, sensitive information you can't let out, but why have you allowed 2 million illegals into the country? Like, why? Where are they? Do you know where they are? Do you know what they're doing?
No.
Like, yeah, I know. And that's what's infuriating about it. And it's
400,000 kids still missing here in the United States. Nobody knows where they went. We do know that we gave them to traffickers, but nobody knows where they went past that.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's one of those things. Like I said, I couldn't watch them for the previous administration because it was that for everybody. Ray, Mayorkas, all those idiots that were just like, I can't answer that. It's under investigation. It's under investigation. It's under investigation. Like that poor woman who went down and said that the fucking Border Patrol agents were sitting there like they were making Subway sandwiches for illegal immigrants.
Yeah, and Dan Goldman called that woman too damn stupid to know what high crimes and misdemeanors are simply because she didn't go to college. He literally, in more words than that, he called her stupid because she there's no possible way she could understand what high crimes and misdemeanors were simply because she did not go to college. I can track that the fuck back, man. He made that argument.
But I can tell you what a Subway fucking sandwich maker looks like. I might not understand high crimes and misdemeanors, but I know what a fucking a Blimpies employee looks like, and that's what the CBP looks like right now.
Right. I mean, that woman was awesome in that. I'd have lost my shit. When Dan Goldman said that out, I just cut in. I'm sorry. Yeah. You're telling me I'm too stupid to know what that is simply because I didn't go to college? And why the hell do you sit there in my halls of Congress telling me, making the laws that tell me how to live my life if you literally think of me that way?
And Fauci sitting there with Rand Paul. No, that's not what it was. That's not what we were giving money to an agency that was working with us, but we didn't know where the money was. Weren't you supposed to know where that money went? Well, you're lying. I know where the money went. So where'd the money go? I don't know where the money went, but the money didn't go to this corporation. It went to this corporation. Isn't that corporation connected with that corporation connected with that corporation that gets a subsidy of this? No, Mr.
Here's
Paul,
an email
you're a
chain
liar.
with your name all over it. That never happened. Literally,
and we were providing fucking security for this guy. We were providing security with our tax dollars, and he's just sitting there.
Meanwhile, he unleashed a fucking pandemic on us, and yeah, we were paying for his security.
Yeah, it's just like I said. Like with the previous administration, I'm just
gonna leave it at that. I can't go any further with that thought.
I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
But I want to bring this up right here. This comes from the Heezy Tweets over here on X. What is happening? Senator Michael Bennett asked Tulsi Gabbard a question, and when she opened her mouth to answer, he immediately interrupted her and started screaming, Tulsi derangement syndrome is deadly. No, this ain't Tulsi derangement syndrome. Listen to how she answered.
Do you believe, as the chairman of this committee believes, as the vast majority of members of our intelligence agencies believe, that Edward Snowden was a traitor to the United States of America.
Senator, if confirmed
This
as
is when the
Director of
rubber hits
National
the road.
Intelligence, I will work with you to make sure that there is not
a
another
moment for
Snowden-like
social
leak.
media. It's not a moment to
So are you
propagate
using it that way?
theories, conspiracy theories, or attacks on journalism in the United States. This is when you need to answer the questions of the people whose votes you're asking for to be confirmed as the chief intelligence officer of this nation. As my colleague said, this is not about you. It's
Wait, is this the hearing one that I threw up here? No. January 30th, 2025. Yeah, that is the hearing one. Shit. That was a different one than I was bringing up altogether. Fuck, my bad. I was looking at that one before. Did I exit out of that one? Oh, yeah. Yeah, we did. I exited out of that one. Sorry, he was yelling at her. Like, he literally went off today, and I grabbed the wrong one. My bad, ladies and gentlemen. But there's another interesting thing. This is going to be a good segue here. We're going to go ahead and lead you into the Rebel segment of this because I think somebody put a collar on Crockett.
You can't say that.
That's the reason I said it. It's as fucked up as I actually intended it to be. Yes. Maybe so. But you'll understand here in a minute. Hold up.
The first thing I thought of was the Django Unchained when you said that.
The Django has been chained. As a matter of fact, there's no D. It's Django. But yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a fun little ride. I want to see how far this actually goes with her because she has been apparently curtailed with all her rhetoric here. And this right here is might have been what set it off. She was talking on MSNBC and she was talking about, hey, what would be the best birthday present for me? The fall of Elon Musk.
Bro, have you seen the puppet of her?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's so wrong.
Find that image.
It's so wrong.
Find that image. But
just in case the slow people listening decide to clip this up later, I just want to say that I have never promoted violence whatsoever, yet I've also never made excuse for those violent actors such as the ones on January 6th. So Pam Bondi, if you have an issue with terrorism, maybe you should talk to your boss about locking back up those guys that he let out that participated in January 6th.
When Pam Bondi, though, says, tread carefully, what does that even mean?
Yeah. All it means is that...
Oh, shit. Hold up. I flipped these on accident. She was saying that Trump was supposed to wanted her birthday present was for Elon Musk to be taken down. I flipped these on the screen. My bad. Hold on. Pam Bondi did respond to that shit, and she said this.
Now you have this Congresswoman,
I fucked that up.
Crockett,
My bad,
who
guys.
is calling for attacks on Elon Musk on her birthday. Let's take him out on my birthday, she says. And yet she turns and says, oh, I'm not calling for violence. Well, she is an elected public official. And so she needs to tread very carefully because nothing will happen to Elon Musk. And we're going to fight to protect all of the Tesla owners throughout this country, and it's this basic safety. Once again, domestic terrorism is going to come to a stop in our country.
That was hers, and this is Crockett's. I'm sorry, this is Crockett's answer to that. But yeah, we'll go back here.
Pam Bondi, if you have an issue with terrorism, maybe you should talk to your boss about locking back up those guys that he let out that participated.
Sorry, I fucked up the order of that.
When Pam Bondi, though, says, tread carefully, what does that even mean?
Yeah. All it means is that she's attempting to get me to say, oh, I'm going to be scared and I'm just not going to say anything because...
Ma'am, you want your birthday present to be Elon Musk taken down. They've been firebombing everywhere. They've been attacking people in their vehicles just because they own Teslas. And you're over there on MSNBC sitting here, hey, my birthday, it's my birthday. Go out there and take Elon Musk down. And she says, tread lightly, bitch, because domestic terrorism will not be tolerated in this country. She's just trying to make me be scared. Mm-hmm.
They are willing to.
By the way,
literally.
didn't Trump say, go peacefully protest?
Oh God, no. Don't throw that up. That was
Didn't
deleted
Trump-
for years, man.
Trump literally said, go get your voice heard and peacefully protest. These people are calling for the
He said,
outright.
fight like hell.
Maxine Waters was saying, don't let these people be comfortable.
Get up in their faces. If you see them, tell them they are not welcome. Yes.
At a
get up.
gasoline store, at a Rite Aid, wherever. Trump said, go get your voice heard and peacefully protest.
I'm going to admit that accent kind of worked. It was Texan, but way too hick. But anyway. But yeah, this bitch right here, just like, she's been this way. Ladies and gentlemen, she's been this way.
Found the puppet.
Oh, you found a puppet. Hold
I
up.
found the
Hold up. Video only. Let's take it to Davy's screen. Jasmine Crockett, ladies and gentlemen.
It's so wrong.
No, that actually fits. That actually fits. Leave it up. Leave it up. Jasmine Crockett. Puppet. Jasmine Crockett. Puppet. Crockofshit. Puppet. It fucking worked. Anyway. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, let's go to my screen back here. Got one more thing before we actually break. This is a little bit of a weird one. Brace with me here. We're going to have to discuss after this fact. But I want you to see a noticeable change in this shit. And then we're going to discuss maybe why this actually happened.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Hot ass Texas
I think
honey.
it's always good.
What the fuck? Hold on. Why is... What is play? Oh, that was you.
That's me. Sorry.
Okay.
I thought you
let
had
me
me.
mute your side. Because I was like, wait, she's not
I thought
saying that. Yeah. What up?
Like when we have something that's bipartisan to point it out because it happens so little around here.
Oh, this was Moskowitz. This was in the wrong one. This was in the wrong one. My bad. That was,
does he have herpes? What's on his lips? Look at under his lip.
it looks like a mole or some shit. But yeah, he was the reason why I was bringing this up because it was no. This is Crockett. This is Crockett. Here we go. It was the next one.
On any given day. But I did
That's
just
might have been why I
want to
brought it up.
reiterate what the ranker talked about when he talked about Texas, and he mentioned that permitless carry was something that went through the Texas House. And I can remember being on the floor and seeing all the law enforcement officers coming to Austin to lobby us and make sure that we did the right thing. And they also testified and they told their stories and they talked about how dangerous it was. And for whatever reason, my colleagues on the other side of the aisle, it all fell on deaf ears. And it made me wonder if Republicans really meant it when they said that they backed the blue. Because when given an opportunity to back the blue, they didn't. And today, we heard from the chairman that this is all about supporting law enforcement. And to be clear, I am going to also support this bill. But the idea that you can say on one hand, I support law enforcement, while on the other hand, I am okay with January 6ers getting out who assaulted law enforcement. If you can say I support law enforcement, yet you still continue to pass bills that are causing more deaths, not only to our precious children, but it makes it so much more dangerous. Right now, it is difficult to recruit law enforcement officers
It's weaves,
because of some of these crazy laws. A lot of law enforcement officers want to go to states that are smarter about their gun laws. So I'm just asking, again, I'm going to support this bill, but if we are going to be amenable enough to say that, you know what, transparency in these numbers, this is something that will be helpful for all of us to be able to evaluate, why can't we have a real conversation on what it takes to actually keep us safe in this country? That's the only thing that I'm asking for, is a real discourse, a real conversation about what does it look like to keep not only the streets in my district safe, but the streets in your district safe as well, because we as Americans should want to be safe. We as elected officials carry the responsibility of making our streets safe. So with that, I will yield.
Very, very, very uncharacteristic of her, is it not?
What did she say?
What she said is we as Americans want to be safe, and we as Americans should feel safe. And because this was a hearing about constitutional concealed carry, why should people be able to, well, she didn't go that far with it, but why should people be able to carry guns constitutionally concealed when America wants to be safe?
So she said nothing.
Yes.
That's what yeah, you took it the long way.
No.
But yeah,
No.
she said nothing. She said nothing.
She said nothing. You are correct, but I want to point something out to you, Davey. What was that list about the highest people that are the, who do you think should in the Democratic Party represents your core values? You remember that poll?
No.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to cut. And I want to tell you why I made that off-color joke. Well, the Democratic Party was a party of the KKK. The Democratic Party was a party that wanted to keep slavery. The Democratic Party is a party that thinks that black people are too stupid to make up their own minds. Hell, they can't get ID. They don't know where the DMV is. They don't know what a computer is. I mean, fuck.
Not even that. If we deport the illegals, who's going to pick your fruits and vegetables?
Who's going to scrub your toilets?
Who's going to work the menial jobs in construction that normal, everyday people don't want?
However, the reason why I make that joke is she is a Democratic representative, and it looks like the Democrats put a collar on her. Ladies and gentlemen, you got 3 minutes. We're going to Rumble. As soon as I get everything lined up for it.
You're never gonna make it, you're not good enough. There's a million other people with the same stuff. You really think you're different, man, you must be kidding. Think you're gonna hit it, but you just don't get it. It's impossible, it's not probable, you're irresponsible. Too many obstacles, you gotta stop it, yo. You gotta take it slow, you can't be a pro, don't waste your time no more. Who the fuck are you to tell me what to do? I don't give a damn if you say you disapprove. I'm gonna make my move, I'm gonna make it soon. And I'll do it cause it's what I wanna fucking do. Cause all these opinions and all these positions, they come in millions, they blocking your vision. But no, you can't listen, that shit is all fiction. Cause you hold the power as long as you're dreaming. There's no way that you make it, and maybe you can fake it, but you're never gonna make it. Aren't you just gonna take that? Make them take it all back. Don't tell me you believe that. Aren't you just gonna take that? Or will you fucking fight back?